right? Like everyone is thinking about this 180 degrees opposite. It's like they think food is poison and poison is food.
Right.
They think fossil fuels are poison. I'm like, no, this is food because this is feeding all the machines that produce your food and everything else. And so I got very motivated to share that perspective. And fortunately, the world was interested. Now, most people weren't, but enough. Interestingly, the industry was not very interested at first, but I started to get some notoriety, and then I would write some stuff, and eventually I started getting invited to speak. And then in 2014 or 2013, an agent saw a debate I did with this guy Bill McKibben, who's a kind of famous anti-fossil fuel person, led the opposition to Keystone and that kind of thing. And he's like, a major publisher will publish this book and pay you a bunch of money. He's like, no way that's going to happen. They wouldn't do that. But they did.
They did.
A portfolio in particular is still my publisher with Fossil Future. They did. And then the moral case for fossil fuels was born in 2014. And then, it's growing. And now the final thing is, not to be immodest, but I've been totally vindicated because I've been saying, hey, these anti-fossil fuel policies are going to cause a global energy crisis. The price of energy determines the price of everything. You're going to have starvation. People are going to freeze. And what do we have in Europe now? People are afraid of starvation, particularly in poor countries, and Europe is afraid of the winter.
And now they're burning more coal.
Of course.
Because they have to.
Right, but they're still telling the Africans, no coal.
But no more coal for, yes.
And the tragedy about that is it's always easier to stop something new than to stop something old. Yes. So the biggest victims of the anti-fossil fuel movement, but more broadly the anti-energy movement, are new things.
Third world countries.
Third world countries, but also nuclear, right? Because nuclear has been, the green movement is against fossil fuels and nuclear, but nuclear is newer. Yeah. It's same with fracking. Like, why isn't there fracking in Europe? Because it's new, so they can stop it.
Right.
But once it started, like I make this point in Moral Case, we got so lucky that President Obama didn't know about fracking until it was unleashed, and he could take credit for it.
Yeah.
If he had known about it in 2007 when he ran on, I'm going to end the tyranny of oil, if he had known that, who knows what the world would be like. Yes. Fracking saved the world. They delayed the energy crisis for at least 10 years. Because really, if it hadn't been for the shale revolution, we would have had these problems much earlier. We basically got a bailout from U.S. shale, but we still kept passing these anti-fossil fuel policies. And